How's it going, everybody? Eric here from Tea and Tobacco and all my various gaming channels under Zoic's Dark. Thanks for tuning in this Saturday afternoon. We are going to be having a little bit of a tea time, maybe a cigar in a little while, but kind of chilling right now. I'm going to be drinking what you can find in the corner. I have the Unan Sourcing Year of the Dog Blue Label Ripe Pu-erh. It's actually a very affordable tea, and it's actually really, really good. But you're definitely going to want to get it soon because it is going to start to get expensive as the years go on. Because I believe this is a pretty popular one. This one, so snag it while they still have it. That is kind of the get it while you can type of mentality we're gonna have to deal with, because yeah, it is definitely probably gonna go fast at some point once there's some more price jumps, but it's gonna jump every year, so like snag it. So I'm guessing that's Pavo. How's it going? So those who might be new to pu-erh teas or anything like that, especially on my gaming channels and whatnot, it comes in a compressed cake like this. So they take all the tea and press it. We can talk about different types of tea in a little while, but that's just what we are dealing with today. So where is my scale? I don't know where my scale went. Where'd my scale go? Oh man. Alright, I'll just have to eyeball it today. Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. Got my scale here. Alright, so I'm gonna be doing uh between 5 and 6 grams because I have a 100 milliliter gaiwan that I'm going to be using, so I like to go uh, roughly 1 gram per 20 mil. Tends to be the best ratio that I find for me. Obviously, people can work out whatever is best for them, which is perfectly fine. But I find 1 gram per 20 tends to be about right. The gaiwan that I'm using actually holds more than 100. I think it's a 125, but I don't fill it all the way up just because then it overflows the cup that I'm using. So kind of tailor it to the cup here. I'll show you that in a second. So I have my easy pour gaiwan that I'm going to be using today. So it has holes already in it, and it has nice little handles on the side so you don't burn your fingers. So big fan of that. Let's see, where's this focus here? Refocus here, so maybe people can see me a little clearer. We'll come back in a second. The video will come back in a second, then we'll talk about it. Come on, almost there. Almost there. Almost there. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So yeah, here's my easy pour gaiwan. I still do use a small mesh filter though as well, just because still kind of bits get through. But it came as a set. It's actually really relatively cheap. I think I got it for, I don't know, $10. So here's the cup that comes with it. It actually store right on top of it. So little set I got that I will be using today. Mostly because I break a lot of stuff, and I'm sure this is going to get broken at some point, and I'm going to have to replace it. So I do not buy really expensive tea-ware because nothing stays in one piece in my house. So that's just how that goes. Running okay. But how's everybody's afternoon going today? I keep getting the weirdest notifications and like total bot people putting stuff on my channel or on in like the comments, which is really annoying. It's like you didn't even view the video, you're not subscribed. It's like why am I going to like your page? I don't even know who you are. Okay. They usually end up, those accounts usually get deleted anyways because they're just bots running out there. All right, let me make sure my chat is actually connected correctly, just in case anybody in the Zoix Dark actually said something or on Twitch or anything like that. But yeah, if you are on any other platform, shoot a message out here and see if it actually pops up. For some reason, Powers did not, and I don't know. Oh yeah, it does help if I actually show it. There we go. Hey, look, he's right there. I guess it is. I guess what is? Was I just saying something? I forget. Hey, what's up, Rizzy? Riffs. All right. Make some room up here. I'll work up here. Hey, what's up, Steph? And or Skip. The chat working. Yep, it is. So I'm connected to quite a few platforms. So over on the right-hand side, yes, the right-hand side. I'm trying to think if it's mirrored, but it's not. On the right-hand side is or this for you guys. The right-hand side is connected to a bunch of different channels, Mixer, DLive, and Twitch. And this side is connected to Tea and Tobacco. So this stream, mostly this stream is going to be about whatever people want to talk about, either regarding to video games or to tea and tobacco related topics. I'm probably gonna be just working on some editing as well. I'm not sure if I'll be showing that, but I will be doing a little bit of editing because I have a lot of video to edit, and that is something I can do while I'm hanging out chatting with you guys. But mostly I'm just going to be hanging out, fielding questions, just talking to all of our friends, you know, having some human interaction here for when everybody can't have any in person. Always fun. Have I ever had Longjin pu-erh? No. I didn't know that they made do they is it actually pu-erh or is it just aged Longjin? This one is YouTube. Pretty good connection, got no lag. Sweet. Hey, what's up? What's up, DJ? I saw you sent me something on Discord. You just sent me one word, I think. Today, so it's up on the screen. It's Unan Sourcing's 2018 Blue Label, Year of the Dog Blue Label. It's a ripe pu-erh. I'm gonna have to check that out because I'm not sure if it would technically be a pu-erh. Because usually a pu-erh is made out of a specific type of leaf. So if it's long gin, it probably would be more of like a compressed long gin instead of an actual pu-erh. I'd have to check that. I'll see what I can find in a few minutes, and finally I can. All right, so I've done 2 washes on this just because it's a ripe, and kind of take a little of the edge off of it. And I'm just going to do a flash steeping here for the first one because this stuff is really, really strong. So I do not need to steep it for more than as long as it takes me to pour it. Riff's got 3 wins today. How long am I streaming for? As long as people are hanging out and engaging with the stream, then I will pretty much be streaming. I don't have any set plans at the moment. Hot. Burning my fingers here. Yeah, so this this easy pour guy one it's really nice. It's really nice and thick. It really holds heat really well. The only problem is that the cup that comes with it doesn't hold the amount of water that this holds. So yeah. Is Megan ripe pour? Yeah, that'd be kind of strange because if it's processed as a ripe, it'd no longer be a long gin because a long gin is processed in a certain way. And if you just did the ripe pu-erh process to it afterwards, then it would really defeat the point of processing it as a long gin. Because long gin is a green tea. But if you're going to ripe process it, then it's going to be completely different on the other side, and it wouldn't resemble a long gin at all. The only difference would be is for most pu-erhs, they're gonna just let it dry naturally first before they do the ripe process, and with a long gin, they're gonna do the green kill right away. Oh, long gin is a brand, I believe. A long gin is a type of is a type of green tea. It's usually called Dragon Well. So that in English, it's usually called Dragon Well or something along that line. But yeah, long gin is actually a type of green tea. So long gin could just be the brand, but that'd be very strange to use a very famous. It's one of the famous green teas um, from China to to use a famous tea name as your brand name would be very, very confusing. Hey, what's up, David? How's it going? Hey, how's it going, Tony? Good to see all of you. So when it's ready to serve, you could put a little cup on top to keep temperature. Well, the problem is you don't want it just like sitting there steeping, because then it's just going to be ridiculously overpowered. Oh, it's gin long. What's a long gin? Okay, I wasn't even. I was just saying long gin, even though I was reading it. Gin long. Well, even then, it's just like what? Well, it's just the syllables, so I don't know if that. I don't know the difference in the translation between the. I don't know what that word would actually mean. I don't know what gin long would actually mean. Sorry, I was assuming you meant long gin. Sorry. Okay, so gin long. No, I have not had anything by Jin Long. Yeah, it depends on what's in it. But well, if you're brewing kung fu style, I mean that's just the way it's going to go. You don't want it just sitting in the water. Yeah, so I mean, if you're doing Kung Fu style, then especially with like this ripe is super powerful. So you're gonna it's gonna be extremely better if you let it sit. Because like I said, I just did a flash steeping right here. I poured the water in, poured it out, and it's strong. Just the brand name. No, I have not had a Jin Long pu-erh. You check out their brand here. Let's check out Jin Long. Oh, it doesn't come up in Google, so that's something. Jin Long Tea Factory. Oh, from Amazon. Okay, yep, I found you here. Yeah, I don't think I've even heard of Jin Long other than on Amazon. I'll have to look into them more to see if they're just some marketed to the West, or if they're produced in Shanghai. Yeah, I'll check them out. A 200 gram at $14. Not too bad. Um, I mean it's a relatively low price, but I will have to check them out at some point. They keep sending you coupons. Yeah, most of the stuff I get is from Yunnan Sourcing and Dragon Tea House and King Tea Mall. They're all based out of China. So it takes a little while to get here. Really spend a couple extra dollars and get the um, airmail shipping instead of ground. I mean, you're for like Yunnan Sourcing, you're gonna pay like $20 or something for shipping, so you might as well make it like $23 and get the airmail. TJ, you want to French press it for 20 minutes? Yeah, that's gonna be very strong. But yeah, you definitely spend the extra few bucks to have it airmailed if you're ordering from Dragon Tea House or Yunnan Sourcing or King Tea Mall. It is definitely worth the couple extra dollars. And usually I'm going to make a large order anyways, at least 100 and 100 between 100 and $200 probably most of the time, or even more, just to make it worth it. And especially because I can, the types of tea that I buy are usually storable. So all the pu-erhs you can store for ever, as long as you store them correctly. I don't drink a ton of fresh teas, so all the aged stuff is perfectly good, and then you can just keep it till you drink it. So good though. Yeah, well, it's a little different. Well, coffee versus teas and whatnot. This would be super bitter town if you steeped it for too long. I think my noise filter is high enough, but if you hear some banging around, it's my puppy. She's chewing on a bone underneath my desk, uh, banging it on the floor. Oh man, spilled some on my. That's bad. Never been a fan of hot tea, mainly sweet iced tea. Well, you need better tea then. You're not a fan of hot tea, and you need good tea. Let me move the logo backwards. There we go. How do you store pu-erh? I have a bunch. Personally, I store it in a cooler, just like I do cigars. Store it at 70% relative humidity at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Uh, So basically, store it that same way. Really, how I so that's kind of like the stable way to do it. Basically, what I do is in the winter, I will put more, um, a little bit more humidity into the cooler that I'm using, so it'll gain through the winter because it's actually really dry, and I'm not worried about it getting too warm. So mold isn't really going to be an issue. But then when spring comes and summer comes, then I let the humidity drop a bit, so it will get down towards it'll get to like the low 60% because it usually gets pretty hot in my office. So it's going to be running, it could get up as high as 85 in my office. So I let the humidity drop to 60ish, 55 to 60. So it basically mimics, it's actually backwards to the natural cycle. That if it's being stored in China, because obviously you're going to have the humid summer and then the dry winter. In this case, I've switched it and I basically have the humid winter in my box and the dry summer, just to keep it from molding. But if you just hang the regular cigar as the cigar storage parameter 70 at 70, then you're going to be fine. So I just use a cooler. It's a regular igloo cooler. Load that up. Some people use, if they can get a hold of like a broken mini fridge, they'll use that. So anything that is going to be insulated like a cooler and will slow the fast temperature swings, so you can maintain humidity stable, is going to be the way to go. But like I said, I just have a cheap igloo cooler. I don't know, maybe one of the 40 liters or something like that. Cost, $30 at Walmart or whatever. That's what I do for bulk storage of, if I have whole leaf tobacco as well. Same thing. I have a huge, like a 120 liter igloo that I store my whole tobacco leaves in, just because it's the most efficient way to store them. Suggestions for tea if you like coffee. Definitely ripe pu-erhs are definitely going to be things to try, because there are so many different I mean, if you're a coffee like connoisseur type of guy, and like there's tons of different flavors from depending where it's grown, how it's processed, and all that fun stuff. Tea is exactly the same way. So there is a massive variety. You can go from super dark and bitter, earthy, tastes like you're drinking compost juice, basically, all the way up to light and fruity. So it really depends on what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a really heavy and earthy type of flavor, just as a generality, then ripe pu-erhs are probably going to be the thing closest to a typical coffee, I guess. Light and fruity sounds like, so yeah, that's going to be the very fresh white teas. So basically you're only going to be able to get them right at the beginning of spring. So right now would be the time to order. You're going to want to go for basically unrolled buds, white tea. That is probably going to be the way to go if you're looking for a kind of a light and fruity for tea. Compost juice. Yeah, well, some of them do well, they technically are putting it through a light composting process by, I mean, they do wet pile it for 45-ish days, and it actually starts to ferment just like you would compost, but they don't let it get all the way there, so it actually turns into compost. But they basically start the process because they'll monitor the temperature. It will get hot inside, and hot inside the pile because they've wetted it down and all that. So they basically do start the composting process. But I've had some, even out of ripe pu-erhs, I've had some interesting flavors, some fruity flavors sometimes, and like the Munghai Tea Factory has a ripe that's called um, White Lotus. I'll have to look. I believe it's White Lotus, and it has kind of like a maple syrup back end type of flavor. You like a pu-erh with lion mane and turmeric mix and shake it up with a little cream. Very coffee like. I don't drink coffee. Interesting. That yeah. I have not heard of people putting cream in their pu-erh, but whatever floats your boat, I guess. That is up to you. All right, let me adjust this chat a little bit because running down here. Ever tried gunpowder tea? Yeah, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the really a lot of it. Well, most of the ones. I've tried a couple different ones. Obviously, they're all going to taste slightly different, but I think they taste too much like lawn scum. I don't know. It's just they're just like way too vegetal, like chewing on the clod of grass that you wipe off the bottom of your lawnmower. How would I get into tea? Well, I've been drinking tea ever since I was a kid. Um, I switched to like green tea. Well, this is just bag tea back then. I switched to green tea sometime in my teens, and then in my early 20s, I was drinking more tea. Just getting different types of, it was all still bag tea from like the Asian supermarket when I lived in Columbus. And they had all types of different teas. And then I started moving to loose leaf tea. And then I found out, oh, wait a minute, this stuff's way better than the stuff in the bags. The stuff in the bags is horrible. I don't drink that now. Um, so I started getting into loose leaf tea. I started picking up what I could find at like the Asian supermarkets because there are a ton of them in Columbus. And then I started branching out into some of the more expensive teas and then found my way online. And Unan Sourcing had just actually opened up probably 2 years prior to when at this point, this is around 2006, 2007, maybe. I think they started somewhere around 2004 or 5. So I ordered a tons of different tea on Unan Sourcing, and since then I've just been ordering tea from a whole bunch of different places, but mostly Unan Sourcing, Dragon Tea House, and King Tea Mall, all based out of China, and it is way cheaper, which is what I found, to buy it and have it shipped than buy it already in the U.S. Um, especially going to Ethan's question, where do you get the best white and silver needles tea? Unan Sourcing is the way to go because they get the stuff fresh right from the farmers. And that stuff is just coming out. Well, it's been out for about 3 months now. They actually started picking really early this year. I saw fresh teas hitting their website mid-February. Usually it's around early March. Their prices are really good. I haven't checked the Silver Needles price from them for a while, but I'm guessing it's going to be a third of what you're going to pay in the United States if it's already here. So you can get a 500 grams. I'm guessing it's going to be around $60 for a 500 gram. I'd have to check. But yeah, it's going to be so much cheaper from Unan sourcing. And like I said, throw in the extra couple bucks for the air shipping. All right, let me grab my keyboard here. Push my tea table out of the way. And my pipe tool is in the way. What else is in the way? And yeah, let's check the price here. We'll check the price on Yunnan sourcing for their white tea. And sourcing 2020 spring. 20 spring teas, white tea. Ready to go. Spring white. Loaded. You should trade. I should trade what? Let's see. They're silver needles this year. They're imperial grade silver needles. I mean, I don't have that much tea. So actually 500 grams, so that's just over a pound, is actually $48 this year for their imperial grade silver needles. Obviously, if you want less, their 100 grams is 13 bucks. It is pretty good. And that's their imperial grade stuff. They have some lower grade. They have a slightly the lower grade. It's silver needles of Fang King, which is actually it's about the same. It's $45 for 500. But yeah, that's the place to go. They have all types of stuff. But as far as DJ, the early spring sun-dried buds wild pu-erh tea is really, really fruity. That is definitely the tea for you. It is definitely one of my favorite white teas. If you're just looking for something nice, light, and fruity, it actually makes really nice iced tea as well. You don't even have to put sugar or anything in it. Has a nice, mild sweetness to it. Yeah, it's really good. What other white teas? Actually, so they have Bai Mudan out already as well. Do they have Shou Mai yet? Shou Mai probably won't be out for another couple weeks. But yeah, so they got all types of good stuff. They have tons of 2020s. I mean, they have just right here 7. They already have 10 white teas out this year that were already harvested this spring. They have a ton of green teas. I'm guessing. Waiting to get that page. Yeah, definitely the guys to check out. And you can most of their stuff is you can get in 50, 100, 250, 500, and 1 kilo. They're all grams in the kilo for all their loose leaf teas. Unless it's ridiculously expensive, then you'll have to give them a shout. But if you give them a shout on their website or hit them up with a Facebook message, they are super quick. Are they organic? They test for they do more extensive testing than is required for pretty much all of the EU. Well, not pretty much, for all of the EU and all the other countries. A lot of them aren't certified, but they have agreements with the farmers that they won't use pesticides and all that fun stuff. So the certification is just too much. It's just too expensive to get the certification for a lot of these farmers, because these are just small farmers. They might have a couple acres to 10 acres. Some of these, and it's China. It's not like they're flush with cash, so they're not going to go through all the expense of the certification process. But they do They do have agreements with them and whatnot, a lot of them, but they do have an organic section as well. So they do have a certified organic section as well. But they test for like 192 different chemicals or something like that, which is more than what is required. But they do have the selection of organic is they currently have 10 for this year so far. Well, it's not too bad. What is this site? Yeah, I will drop it into the chat here. Let's see if it'll actually go everywhere. Gets to. Oh, it did go to Mixer, so that's good. Oh, good to go to YouTube and to get into the Tea and Tobacco chat. So I just pasted the website into it, but yeah, it's. You're tipping for my son because he has autism. Well, thank you very much. Does are they watching the stream, hanging out with us? All right, let me back up a little bit. Okay, so DJ, FYI, if you talk too quiet, the noise gate. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I turned up the noise gate a while ago because I had a fan in the window. So I will try to stay closer to the mic. Let me know if I cut out at any point. Typing. I'm typing for my son. Got it. I wasn't sure if it was tipping or typing or is it just got it. I'm guessing that's what you meant is typing. What's up? You know, I see all of the little emotes that you're putting in there. How's it going? All right, what were we talking about? The growing season. So in China, we'll just stick to the Chinese growing season because that's what I know the most about. So you're gonna have picking all through the year, even into winter, depending on the location. But obviously, a lot of the places are in the mountains, so they're gonna have harsher winters than if you're down in the valley or something like that. But most of it's gonna be around. There's a whole bunch of different tea producing areas, but in general, you're gonna have the spring is when you're gonna get a lot of the really high quality teas because that's when they're gonna be picking just the buds. So they're actually gonna pick the leaves before they actually unfurl, and that's how you get the silver needles tea because it's the leaf has grown out. But they pick it right before it unfurls into a nice regular leaf. As the spring goes on, then you're going to get the leaf size teas. So you're going to get the silver needles first, and then some green teas that are processed with buds, and then after that you're gonna see the Bai Mudan, which is usually a bud and the first, sometimes the second leaf, but usually it's a bud and one. I believe it's one bud, one leaf. So they'll pick the first leaf and then the first bud that's coming. Is springtime the same as here? Yeah, they're in the northern hemisphere, so their spring is going to be in the same time as us. Their spring starts a little earlier, depending on the location again. Some are later, but where you're going to see a lot of the fresh teas, you're going to start seeing the picking somewhere around mid-February to mid-March. It really depends on the year. But this year they actually started picking really early in mid-February. Usually it's the beginning to mid-March that you'll see kind of the first teas pop up. But this year the plants decided, well, it wasn't that cold, I guess, and the plants decided to start producing leaves. Yes, it is. Okay, so DJ, I'll get back to the growing in a second. DJ, it is under the spring 2020 under white tea, and then it is called the pure bud sun dry, something like that. The pure bud, the early spring sun dried buds. That is the stuff that you're gonna want to try because it is nice and fruity. Also, that first one on the page, the purple sweet yabo, is really good too. If you check out if you head over to my YouTube channel, I think I've done reviews on both of those on the Tea and Tobacco channel. So you could check those out to see kind of my tasting notes of both of those on the Tea and Tobacco channel. All right, so they'll pick, into the spring. The summer usually don't see too much teas coming out. That's probably mostly when they're gonna start picking. They're gonna start picking the larger leaf varieties, especially up in the mountains. And that's where they're gonna be picking all types of stuff for like the pu-erh. So they're gonna be picking the gushu on the wild grown trees. And I mean, the wild grown trees, you can have leaves, this big or even bigger, because they've just been growing wild for 600 years or whatever. So you have some really really old trees with some very very large leaf. And then they'll do another picking in fall. It's usually not as heavy, but you can get some more robust flavors because they'll have been receiving nutrients all summer or whatever. But the biggest season is definitely going to be the spring. That's when you're going to get like your really high quality fresh tea. Not that the autumn teas are not high quality as well. It's just different flavors. They're going to be a little more pronounced and they're not going to be as fruity. They tend to be a little bit more minerally. Of course, these are all just generalizations. It's gonna vary from tea to tea. So really, it's try some spring teas, try some autumn teas, try some winter teas. It's all over the place. So you just gotta try everything. What's the difference between tea grown in India and tea grown in China? The tea grown in it's so usually it's the same plant, though. Actually, back up. It's usually not the same exact plant. It's a different cultivar that's grown in India. It's usually Samaka, grown in India. They do grow some of the same. There's only really like two main cultivars. Cultivar is probably the wrong species. I should say species. It's a slight variation off of the regular tea that you see in China. It's fairly speciated. But they grow a slightly different tree, and then they process it completely differently too. And it's grown in a different climate, which is gonna change it greatly. But you'll see a lot of the black teas. You have the Darjeeling and whatnot. But I mean, it's just a slightly different. It's barely speciated. China does have way more variety, at least in the India is getting a little bit more variety too, especially along the where the two countries are closest. There's some crossover, so India's getting a little bit more variety, but you don't see a ton of variety out of India because they were late to the party. On the grand scale of things, they've obviously been making tea for a very, very, very long time, but China has been doing it for even longer. So they have been doing all the processing and stuff. So they've just kind of developed their own processing, which, for the most part, I think the processing and the climate are going to be what's going to differentiate it the most. There was actually there's actually a bunch of countries now that are actually producing some really decent tea. There's actually a lot of a lot of area in like Colombia, instead of producing coca for cocaine, has been planting tea instead. So I actually have some Colombian tea, some Colombian grown oolong tea. I haven't tried it yet. Give me 1 second. Let me. So I got a variety of teas from like all over the world because I was curious how all these different teas tasted. So I have an India black tea, so that's pretty normal. I have a an oolong tea grown in Vietnam. Also, I got some black tea that's grown in Georgia, the country of Georgia, not the state of Georgia. Uh, I got some tea actually grown in Maui. I have some Australian tea, some Kenyan hand rolled oolong, some stuff grown, some golden tippy black tea from Colombia, and some sticky rice oolong from Thailand. So the tea is starting to be grown in a lot of different places, but still processed the same way. So I'm curious how it's going to go. India is way more concentrated on commercial. Yeah, they're definitely more on the commercial level. Sri Lanka less, and South America is starting and doing very well. Yes, so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of, especially the South American countries. Um, I would assume, especially like Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Chile, especially in the mountains of those regions. I bet they could probably produce some pretty nice tea, especially if they have, especially if they get the processing down. If they have people, tea masters from China come over and process their tea there. I bet we could have some pretty cool, some pretty interesting teas, not just coming out of China. What's the deal with Lapsang? I can't even say it. Lapsang Shehong. Um, I have some of it always leaves a taste in my mouth. It's like I'm smoking a cigar. Yeah, I do not like smoked. I definitely just do not like it. It is not a tea for me. I've had it. It is just, yeah. Sometimes it's just, it has that like creosote flavor. I'm just not a huge fan of it. You agree on the great climate of the South American countries? Yeah, I bet those would be great. I mean, and especially any of the um sucks for me as a cigar lover, but any of the places that are growing um cigar tobacco could easily be switched over to tea because it needs kind of a similar climate, especially in Ecuador. I think Ecuadorian tea would probably be very good. So they could. I don't want them to switch over because I like my cigars, but if they ever wanted to dump growing tobacco because the market just isn't there for it anymore, which I'm assuming eventually it's getting rough already in the United States with all the ridiculous taxes and laws and all that stuff, and raising, they just raised the smoking age to 21. Eventually, I'm sure it's going to crash at some point, so they could definitely move over to tea, especially if tea gets a um, better foothold in the US and maybe replaces coffee instead. I mean, obviously, the US is very, very partial to their coffee, so I don't know if tea is ever going to become the mainstay at some point, but I think it's just an educational thing. The variety is out there. It's just people need to explore it a little bit. And coffee, I think, is a little bit of a more grab and go type of drink, where tea tends to be a little bit more of a sit and relax type of drink. And obviously, if you're doing like gung fu style and whatnot, it's kind of a ritualistic type of a deal. But this right tea is really, I don't know how many infusions I'm in. Probably what, 4 or 5, and it's still going strong. But yeah, so far so good. Yeah, I'm curious to see what comes out of the South American countries as far as teas go. Oh, what else is going on out there? I might grab a cigar in a minute to enjoy with my tea. So I do have a lot of editing. I always do some of that too. Do you happen to check the medical effects of these herbs? Well, it's only one, so there's only one leaf. It's just all processed differently. But no, I don't bother checking the medical. I'm sure a lot of it's probably a little bit is overblown. What are you doing? Sorry, my dog is wandering in. Sure, she's okay. You okay? Good. She might hear my wife. I think she just woke up. Um, as far as the medical claims, I don't really look into them. I'm like I said, I'm sure many of them are overblown. As long as there's nothing major that it says it's detrimental, then I am okay with that. As long as it's not detrimental, I'm all right. If there's positives, great. If it's neutral, then fine. Not really. Yeah, I just drink tea, like it. Ever try rolling your own cigars? That's what I do. Yes. Actually, I've done a few live streams where I rolled my own, where I was rolling my own. Yes, I do roll my own. I have my own personal blend that I like is a 6-country blend from Brazil, Colombia, Honduras, United States, Cameroon, and Dominican Republic. So it's a 6-country blend that is my favorite because I blended it and it's specifically for me to enjoy because I put exactly what I like into it. So yes, I do roll my own. I would like to get a larger mold. Um, I would like to. Right now, I just have a 7. I have two 7x48s. I'd like to get something like a 60 ring gauge, just so I can make like little nubs and whatnot. That would be cool. Wrapper Cameroon. Cameroon wrapper is definitely my favorite. Hey, get down. Come on. What are you doing? You want up in the chair? Hold on. I gotta take care of this. In the chair. You want to go up in the chair? There you go. Look out the window. All right, she is taken care of. Yeah, well, I mean, obviously tea has caffeine in it, so you're gonna have, you know, we all know what caffeine does. Uh, some teas make you sleepy, some energize you. I mean, it's really some of it's probably a placebo, some of it, whatever. But yes, back to the cigars. Yes, Cameroon is my favorite. You're now using the Habano 2000. Yeah, it's a also a good wrapper. I need to get some. I need to get some Ecuadorian shade grown stuff. But Cameroon is my favorite. It tends to be the cheapest as well. So win-win. They tend to be small though, so you can only get usually a 5x48 tends to be kind of like the sweet spot of the Cameroon wrappers because they tend to be on the smaller side. Though sometimes I can find some larger ones that I can get a 6.5 to 7x48 if I'm lucky. Don't know about the tea and iron thing. Of course, also depends how much iron you have in your diet. You live in the same city as whole leaf tobacco? That's awesome. I mean, I'm in New Hampshire, so leaf only is closer to me, technically. I used to live closer to whole leaf when I lived in Ohio, since whole leaf is in Ohio. But leaf only is in Connecticut. I mean, I'd still just have them ship it to me anyway, so I don't have to pay all the taxes. So the sales tax and whatnot, because there's no sales tax in my state, which is always nice. Leaf only has so much variety right now, though. That's another thing. They have a way bigger variety than whole leaf. And also, I tend to buy enough that I get the wholesale discount. If you buy more than 10 pounds at a time, you get the wholesale discount. So I usually try to make my order at least 10 pounds. I also have a coupon code over there for 5% off if people want it. The warehouse is 2 miles away. I have to pay cash though. Less variety, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I usually buy at least 10 pounds, so I get the wholesale discount, and I have a coupon code. They gave me a coupon code for my viewers to use. It's just TNT if you want 5% off over at Leaf Only. I haven't really been in that, but it's there. Pretty sure it still works. I got it a while ago. And if you're gonna do some like pipe varieties and whatnot, both of them are pretty decent with kind of pipe varieties, because both of them carry pu-erh now, and Latakia. So um, yeah, not much more to say about that. I do need to make an order at some point because I am pretty much out of my blend. Light one up, yeah, go for it. Nice Sunday sat. Well, what the heck is it? All these days are running together. What are you doing? What are you doing? You are such a pain in my butt. Hold on, I gotta address the dog again. Licking off my breakfast plate. Put down. Yeah, she is 14 weeks old. 14? 14, 15 weeks old at this point. So, she's a little bit of a terror at the moment. But what are you gonna do? I will get her in just a second. Her name is Chloe, and she is a golden retriever. And you start making like a puppy cam when she sleeps under my desk while I'm playing games or something. This is Chloe. Hi. Say hi to everybody. So yeah, so this is Chloe. She is 14 weeks old. Hi. I know. Little baby. So far she has not been too bad. She hasn't been like a super terror. She was pretty easy to potty train, although sometimes she still decides, hey, I'm not gonna wake you up and I'm just gonna go in bed. Thank you very much for that last night, by the way. Back on her chair. Look out the window. I don't know if tea is good for dogs or not. The caffeine's probably not good for dogs. But yes, she is our quarantine puppy. Drove a very long way to grab her. More of a wife, hey, we're getting a dog type of deal, not as much as, hey, you want to get a dog? Because we're getting a dog. I should say another dog because we have two. We have two small dogs. We have a wiener dog and a chihuahua. But hey, yeah, yeah, it's one of those. Hey, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're 3 hours away. I'm like, what? You mean they're 3 hours away? So yeah, I had to smoke. Oh, smoked. I just read that comment pop up right as I was talking. So we had to drive all the way to. I almost drove to the Canadian border. Literally, we were on a road that the houses on the right side of the road were in the United States, and the houses on the left side of the road were in Canada. So that's how far up in Vermont we had to drive to get the dog. Which we are all the way on at the south border of New Hampshire. So that's a long drive, bit of a drive. So we had to drive, a total of 6 hours to get her. Um, so far, I guess she's worth it. So I smoke caramel cob pipes as well as briar. Yes, but not very often. Pretty much the cobs are only for aromatics that I do reviews on, or if I'm in a very, very strange mood, because I pretty much almost never touch aromatics, at least not on purpose. um, Latakia based blends and other non-aromatics are the stuff that I stick to the most. But yes, I do have a bunch of cobs. They're all labeled on the bottom for like the kind of the base aromatic topping that they have. So I have, like a one pipe that I use for chocolate based stuff, one for coffee, one for rum and whiskey, and one for berries, or well, cherry, and then other berries, and then vanilla. I got one for vanilla. So what? You got up there, you can't get down? Want down? Hold on. There you go. But yes. Yes, the hat is my Dockers flat cap. I didn't know Dockers made a cap. I didn't know they made hats. I just thought they made pants. Sometimes shirts. But they make a flat cap, and you can snag this one on Amazon. I can drop you the link if you're interested. I always have the link to whatever hat I'm wearing on my reviews because it eventually became a thing that everybody asked on all my videos. So that is so I always put the link at my reviews of what hat I'm wearing. You're a big hat guy. Yeah, I'd like the link. Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I have it all saved in a text file here, and I will drop it for you. Tobacco. Amazon links. So this is an affiliate link, just FYI. It does help support the channel, of course. But this is the bad boy that I am wearing. Actually has ear flaps as well, which I didn't know for the first like 3 years that I owned the hat. I just thought it had a really thick lining. Hold on, I think this is about my car. I gotta take this. Car was in the shop. We had to get our tires put over. But yes, yes, I always put the flat caps that I wear in the description because everybody asked all the time because I always am wearing a flat cap. At least in all my TNT videos. I think I've worn a baseball cap, but I'm always wearing a hat, mostly because I'm going bald, which really sucks. So you can see if you go back to my really early videos, I had long hair like down to my shoulders, and then a couple years ago I just buzzed my head, so suddenly the long hair disappeared. Mostly because I'm going bald like directly on the top, and I didn't want to have a skullet. So stick with the hats. Stick with the hats. Anyways, I'm probably gonna have to get moving in a little bit because the shop closes at 5 o'clock and I gotta go pick up my car. So I guess that is to answer somebody's question of how long I'll be going. Let's see. Am I into honey with tea? No, I don't use any sweetener. Yeah, if the tea requires sweetener, I don't drink it. Yeah, the car is gonna be like $700. So I gotta go pick it up. We had to have the tires switched over from winter tires to our summer tires, and then the rear brakes, calipers, rotors needed to be replaced. So that got that got taken care of. I probably got another 15 minutes. I probably got to let my wife know as well. Yeah, I will probably be on. I might pop on again later tonight. I saw your video a while ago about cleaning estate pipes with salt and vodka. Do you have any tips for cleaning the stems? I'm nervous smoking one with a used stem. Simple enough with the stem. Just wash it like you would a utensil. Assume you just use a little dish soap on it. Clean it like you would a fork, and you should be fine. Obviously use a pipe cleaner through it, but really, I mean, you eat on forks at restaurants that other people have been eating on. Just wash it like you would a utensil and you'll be fine. If you really need to, if it's like totally oxidized and stuff, if it's like a vulcanite stem, you're gonna have to use a little bit more elbow grease. So if you have a vulcanized stem that is completely oxidized, so it's like super green and stuff, if it doesn't have a painted logo, or you don't care if the paint goes away, just know that the paint will be gone most likely. So if you have a very, very oxidized stem, soak it in a thing of OxyClean overnight, wipe it off with paper towel, and then what I find is good is use Barkeeper's Friend. Is a really good mild abrasive that will clean off the rest of the oxidations, or you can actually use like a baking soda paste with some paper towel, and if you use a little t-shirt material, that works really good. If not, you can use paper towel with the baking soda paste, but I find kind of the t-shirt has a little bit of abrasiveness as well, and it'll take that oxidation off and you'll get it nice and shiny. And then use like a little bit of I like olive oil, or you can use, I don't know if I have any on my desk right now, but you can use a little bit of stem wax or whatever, but a little bit of olive oil goes a long way to keep oxidation at bay. Didn't mean to rhyme that. Steph and Skip, logos should be stamped, right? It depends. Some on the stem itself, I've seen Stanwell just puts a like a little painted logo. Some will have a raised logo and it will be painted. Some just have a raised or a stamped logo. So it really depends on the maker how they do it. Stanwell doesn't use vulcanite stems anymore for the most part. They pretty much all use acrylic. So you're not going to have to put it in OxyClean or anything, and you shouldn't be wiping it off. And also, I have put my Stanwell stem in OxyClean and various cleaning agents, and whatever they use for their ink stays fine. That doesn't mean they all. But I have a Nording that has a stamped logo plus it's painted, and the paint came off. I didn't really care. It was a cheap Nording anyway, so I don't really. The stamp is still there, so I'm cool with that. But if you're okay with the color possibly being removed from the marking, then go for it. Obviously, some will use inlays, like little inlaid dots. Those aren't going to go anywhere. But if it's actually painted, it has some sort of ink or paint, it could get wiped off. Just so you know. So don't yell at me if you lose the color off of your logo on the stem. That's just, it's really all over the place. But if you're buying an estate pipe and it's not like some ridiculously rare maker or anything, I had a Peterson, the Peterson that I used in that video that Dave was talking about. It was old. It was pretty damaged anyway. So it's like, what do I care if the paint wipes off? I didn't really care. But if you have something really, really nice, then just be aware of it. But a lot of times you'll have the stamp actually in the briar itself instead of on the stem, especially if it's like a really high end, like not an artisan maker, because they're not gonna print the stuff on their stems. They're gonna be hand making their stems, and they're probably not gonna be doing that type of thing. Yeah. So these basket pipes that are amazing smokers have 0 stamps or ink. Love those pipes. I have one as well. It is not clean, so I don't know where it is. It's down on my dirty rack. All it does, it just has a random 100 stamped in the briar. I have no idea what brand it is, but it is bulky as hell and it is awesome. So yeah, I am down with. For the most part, brands don't really mean a ton for me as long as it's a nice high quality. You can tell, it's nice and beefy. Those are the types of pipes I look for anyways. I don't tend to dwell on brand too much, though there are ones that I really like. There are ones that you can recommend and they're going to be good. If you can't, inspect yourself, or you're new to it, you can always say, yeah, get a Peterson, get a Savinelli, get a Nording, get a Stanwell. Whenever you say that, they're always going to be at least good. And you can send somebody in the right direction of getting a good pipe versus grab anything. you don't want to grab anything. You at least want to, have some semblance of quality in there. What's the difference between grade and um difference between grade and are you asking what the difference between grade and quality is, or are you asking what the difference between the rating is? Grade and quality are usually the same thing. So using those, we'll go with using them as a synonym, and you're just calling it two different things, meaning the same thing. It really depends on the pipe maker, but most of the time, the lower grade stuff is there might be sand pits in it, because the briar that is used for pipes grows mostly in the Mediterranean area, and it grows in very sandy soil. So that sand gets into the briar, and the burl that develops for yes, it's not finished quality. It's actually usually it's the quality of the wood, um, but it's going to come out in the finish. So it's a little bit of both. Um, so it grows in the Mediterranean. The briar grows, and the burl that gets used for pipes grows right at ground level, right where the basically where the stem of the plant is coming out of the ground and the roots. So it's basically right between the roots and the stem. That's where the burl, this specific type of burl, grows, and because it's right in the ground, sand gets in it, and you find little sand pits. So sometimes there's tiny little holes inside the briar when they're finishing it. There'll be a little hole. There'll be a little kind of black mark with a little hole in there. They'll have to sometimes they'll use fill. So you'll see like a little thing that just it doesn't match the wood, and you can tell it's a little bit of like a putty type fill. Those are definitely going to be lower quality because they had to use fill for those. A lot of times they'll just sandblast them or rusticate them in some way to because the wood isn't of high enough quality to be able to justify a smooth finish. Um, and then once you get into the smooth finishes, it's all going to be about grain structure. So does it have a really straight grain? So maybe if you have a pipe that's like this, is all the grain perfectly like aligned with the direction of the pipe? Or if it's bird's eye, which is going to be turned on its side, you're going to be looking down like the little tubes that grow. So if it's really high quality bird's eye with no fills, there's no sand pits or anything like that. That's going to determine the quality, or I should say the grading of the pipe. And it's going to be a lot more expensive, especially if it's a nice smooth finish and the grain structure is excellent. That is where the cost comes in. But of course, it's all aesthetic, most part. As long as if there's no fills, it's going to be higher quality. What is the favorite pipe I own? It is. Where is it? Not on my rack back there. I'll grab it. Just. So I actually have. So there's 3 pipes. There are 3 pipes that I would call my favorite. This one is my Stanwell Bishop. I think my wife bought this for me. I think it was my 30th birthday. She bought me this, and it is definitely one of my favorites. This is the one that does have a painted logo on the stem right here. It's worn off a little bit, but no, it's not raised or stamped at all. It's actually just a logo painted on. I mean, I'm sure they stamp it, but it's not like a physical dent in the stem at all. So this is my Stanwell Bishop, definitely one of my favorites. Then I have this Tim West. I've always wanted a Tim West because he makes these giant freehands that he's mostly known for. He's based. I think he lives just north of Columbus, Ohio. I'm pretty sure he's still alive. Haven't checked in a while. But I snagged this from a guy on a forum for. I think no, this one I did pay for. I think I only paid about $100 for it, which I was totally fine with. I would pay double for this thing. But this is my Tim West, which I'm a big fan of. And then this one is a Winslow, and it's a Crown Viking. So the Winslow Crown Viking. This is kind of like my favorite shape. My wife got me this for Valentine's Day a couple years ago. But this is like my favorite. Like if I could just have a whole thing of these, I'd be happy because I really love the shape. It's nice and bulky, fits perfectly in my hand. It's just a really really nice pipe. But like I was saying with the finish, so you can see here there's some smooth finish, but then there's some rusticated finish. So I'm guessing the reason they rusticated this is not because they thought it looked cool. It's probably because there might have been sand pits or something in here. So to make it still look cool, they decide, okay, we're going to rusticate this area because if we can't smooth finish it because of whatever flaws are in here, and same with over here on the bottom, there's probably some flaws, so they made this rustication. So give it a little bit of a artistic flair while still being able to maintain some of the really nice grain. But yeah, that is probably why they rusticated in select spots, because usually they would make this, if they could do a fully smooth one, it would cost probably 3 times as much. But to salvage what they could from the sand pits or whatever flaws there were, they put this rustication in here, filled it with this black dye, this black stain. So it gives it a little bit of some character while covering those flaws and still making a really nice pipe. So yeah, I mean, you could get this completely smooth. But like I said, it'd probably be 3 times the price. How not to clean a pipe? Don't clean it with soap and water. I guess I don't. How not to smoke a pipe? How not? Yeah. How not to smoke a pipe? How not to clean a pipe? Well, yeah. How not to smoke a pipe is pretty much don't smoke it really really fast. Let's see, Steph, estate pipes. What is your highest bid for a basic pipe for high end brand or name brands? It really depends. I max out under probably $200 would be the highest I would ever pay for a pipe. Um, I definitely want like a Boswell, so that's gonna run me probably around 150 or so on eBay, or even 200 new straight from them. Yeah, it really depends on the maker, but I really like a big honkin' Boswell at some point, because those are just I'm fans of. For the most part, though, if I'm just like trolling eBay, then I'll try to snag like a really nice pipe for super cheap, like $20 or less, which I have done before. I've actually picked up. All right, so I have this pipe. We'll do a little guessing game. I have this pipe, and this pipe. This is a Pipes Unlimited pipe. This is a Pipes Unlimited pipe, and this one was actually, and all three of them were unsmoked. And this one just has 100 stamped on the side. So these three pipes. Let's take a few guesses. How much did I pay for these three pipes? It's nice. I mean, look, this nice size. It's nice Canadian Pipes Unlimited Classic. This is a Pipes Unlimited Special. Has a nice Dublin. Again, a nice big bowl. This thing is nice and fat, nice and heavy honkin' piece right here. This one just has the 100 stamped on the side. And there's no fills. There is a little sand spot there though that they didn't fill. Another one right there. So I mean, there's just some minor flaws, but they decided to still go with a smooth finish. So let's take a little yeah. So we got a bid for 65 for all three, and we'll see. We can get a couple. Let's get a couple more bids here. How much do you think I paid for all three of these? Come on. I got 65. I got 65. I got 65 for all three. I got 65 for eBay sell for all three. 65, 65. 35, 40. I paid $18 for the lot. All three of them were being sold together as a lot. Paid $18 because I was just trolling. I saw it. I put a bid in. Nobody bid against me. $18 for all three of them together. So sometimes you can get crazy deals if you just if you're not desperate for a pipe, just troll eBay just as a hobby, and then be like, find something that's ending in like 10 minutes that is a crazy awesome deal, and just throw a bid in and just see what happens. I've done that with quite a few pipes. Um, so I have this pipe is a Talamona. It was made by the original pipe makers who made Talamona. This is probably from the 80s or so. Again, it was almost new. It wasn't a state pipe, but it's in ridiculously awesome condition, and it was made by the actual pipe makers. The father and son. I don't know which one made it, but there was a father and son team that originally owned Talamona, and so this is from the 80s before they closed up shop and sold the name, and I got this for $23 on eBay because I was just trolling, and I saw it pop up and like, yeah, I'm taking that. Want to find a decent falcon, ability to change a bowl, husband. Not spend more than 300. Oh, you can find falcons like crazy for you. You can get a falcon with like 3 bowls for 300 easy. I mean, actually, you can probably get like 3 falcons with 3 bowls for $300. First and third pipe. This one, the Stanwell. This is the Stanwell Bishop. Nice freehand. I'm not sure they make this line anymore. And then this is my Crown. This is my Winslow Crown Viking. They definitely do make these still. These are probably about. This one was probably about 150 because it has the rustication on it to cover up the flaws. You'll see them range in this shape from 150 to around $300 if it's a perfectly smooth one. But this is definitely my favorite hand feel. It has just it just fits perfectly in my hand. So like if I could buy a bunch more of these, I definitely would. Gotta go making beer chicken for Mother's Day. Nice, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here because I'm gonna have to go get my car. I will probably be on later. I don't know what I'll be doing. I might be doing some gaming, but I also need to do a ton of editing, so I might just throw on the stream, hang out, and do my editing while yakking with you guys. So okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up here because, like I said, I gotta go get my car because they close at 5, so they close in 40 minutes. Luckily, it's only like a 10-minute drive. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I thought this was a really nice stream. Be sure to subscribe if you have not, and head over to my Zoix Dark gaming channel and subscribe over there. I'm gonna move all my gaming stuff over there once that channel gets bigger. Just because right now, just how YouTube works, you need to have so many subs to even be able to be found in the algorithm. So if you can head over to there, even if you hate gaming, go over there and subscribe to that channel. It'll be a big help. Yeah. Also check out BRTV. What? Missing something? BRTV? You also bought that tea. Fortnite tonight. Yeah, I might play Fortnite with DJ tonight. Link is in the description. It should be right in the description. BRTV, I'm listed. I'm listed on BRTV. Interesting. The Zoix Dark channel for YouTube is listed right in the description of this stream. So you can head over there. BRTV. Send me the link for that. I'm curious what you were talking about because I'm not. Here. The YouTube Tobacco Presenter. Interesting. Shoot me the link for that. I think you even have my. I think you have my email as well. I think we've exchanged emails. If you can't, if it doesn't let you drop it in here, shoot me an email. I think it's teandtobacco.eric@gmail.com. You just go to the About tab. It's in there. I just check it. I don't remember what it is. Shoot me the link because I'm very curious. All right, guys. I'm gonna end this here, and I may see you guys later tonight with a little bit of gaming or just hanging out while I'm doing some editing. You know, whatever you want to do. So I will see you either later tonight or next time I stream, which is definitely going to be Monday is my next scheduled stream. But I'll probably be on before then. So thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. See you later, guys.